Hello folks, Mundane Man here again, and today it's a rainy day outside, so I thought, well, it's time to get to some maintenance on my Ram 1500 with the 5.7 liter HEMI, and I'm going to change the spark plugs today. It's a task that's supposed to be done every 50,000 kilometers or 30,000 miles according to the manual, and I think I am way over that. I changed them at 60,000 kilometers and now I'm at 140,000 kilometers, so I'm way off the mark for regular maintenance, so let's get at it. So the first things we're going to do is we're going to take out the airbox and the covers so that we can get at the coils and spark plugs on the passenger side. And the difficulty area generally is around that brake booster. So I'm going to do the opposite of what most people do. They always seem to tackle the easy side or easier side. I'm going to tackle this side first and see how far I get. Okay, I'm going to take the hose off of the air intake from the filter and undo the PCV hose here. How many clips did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And I believe this is just put in here with rubber grommets. Sometimes you just got to know when to force it. Now we're going to get the intake hose out of the way. We got the sensor here and also another clamp. We'll just pull up on this red lockdown tab here and then push down on this tab here on the side there and just unplug that sensor, put your cable out of the way, boom, hose to the throttle body is off. And let's take off this cover. I'm going to remove the oil cap because my aftermarket oil cap is bigger than the hole there, and again this is just got those rubber grommets holding it in. Pop it off, and out she comes. Let's put our oil cap back on so we don't lose it. I've done that before. Now we have access to our 4 coils on the driver's side, 4 coils on the passenger side. So let's start over here, our most difficult problem child. It's this cylinder here, maybe the worst for the brake booster. The one in the very back is probably worse just from a pure distance perspective and getting those bolts out of the coil packs. And just my anal retentiveness here, getting rid of some of this dust and stuff from around the oil fill area. I've probably dripped at some point and then dirt just stuck to it there. Okay, to get these coil wires off, there is a tab on the side of the connector, and they are not the easiest to press and pull up on, especially if they haven't been off for a long time. There was that one. Kind of did a little pop. And there is that guy. Kind of keep them where they came off of so you don't get them mixed up later. I think it's probably pretty difficult to get them mixed up later. This front one's got a short wire, and this wiring harness is right up against it. So let's try and make some room here. And you can see it's right where it comes out of the harness that it's hardest to get in and out. These coil bolts are number 10s. Again, in the most difficult place you could imagine. I'm not quite sure why they engineer shit like this. I could see if it was something that didn't need to be replaced practically for the life, oh, I'll never see that again, practically for the life of the vehicle. But no, something that's regular maintenance they put in some of the most difficult places to get at. Now, I got many rants on how they engineer these things, but what are you gonna do? It feels like the bolts stay within the coil, so let's pull this coil out. It's going to come out at an angle here. See if I can go find my number 10 again. Didn't get too far away from me. There's lots of videos on how to change these spark plugs and upgrade the coils to non-factory, but my videos are more what you can do while you're in your own driveway. I'm going to try and make sure I don't get the coils mixed up, so I want everything to go back where it was. That way I know which cylinder is having a problem. There was no codes flagged or anything so far on this. I just like to keep things the way they were, so that if for some reason there was a diagnosis necessary, we would know that that cylinder and that coil are together. Also, isn't it more fun watching a fat guy trying to get in small places? That's always good entertainment, right? Coil bolts weren't very tight, but you don't want to really reef down on these when you're putting them in. You don't want to pull out that Heli coil or whatever they call it that's in the top of the valve cover that holds them. So even here, wouldn't it have been easier to put the dipstick tube somewhere else? Or run this vacuum line a different way? Okay, let's return to the back here and see what it's going to take to get these out. I've done them before once, so I'm definitely not a pro at this. And they're in there so deep. You're going to find with this job, you might use a multitude of extensions and swivels and all that stuff. Thinking I need better tools too, but again, you just do with what you got. I can't remember what they quoted me at the dealership for this. I'm sure it was a $500 job to change 16 spark plugs. And if you look around at all the dicking around you got to do here, I can see why it's time consuming. Looks like I used iridiums the last time. They almost look like they're running a little lean. It's got a bit of ashiness on the top. Okay, let's get the other one out and we'll finish off one cylinder at a time. I don't think I gave you a good angle of where the spark plugs are going in. I just took out the 2 spark plugs back at that cylinder, and you can see 2 spark plugs per cylinder on these HEMIs, which if you're doing this job, you should know that already, I assume. Okay, I put some gloves on because the less you get any kind of debris on your spark plugs, the better. Prevents any premature fouling. So my previous plug, I got the double iridium Bosches. The new plugs I'm using are NGK iridium, just iridium, I guess. Maybe not so platinum, I guess. And just double checking to make sure that they're the same plug, which they are. Line them up and the distances are the same. And you can see on the old ones how the crush washer is flattened out, where the new one still has some thickness to it. So once you torque them in, that will flatten out as well. They say you should torque them to 13 foot-pounds. It's tough to get a torque wrench in there, so I just kind of use enough force that, you know, the old elbow pop scenario. You feel your elbow pop, you know they're in tight enough. Okay, I'm going to do this systematically. I'm going to put the 2 plugs in that back cylinder, put the coil back in so that I know I'm just keeping things in sync here. Don't think I mentioned either, but I bought a 5/8 spark plug socket on a swivel. Now this extension seemed a little bit long, so I'm not sure how that's going to do around the brake booster, but it certainly gives you a little bit more capability if you've got the swivel right at the socket level. And I will be putting some dielectric grease on the coils. Let me show you where. Probably here. Just gives it some sealing so no moisture gets in there, and I think it'll help get the coils out too if you know, if the heat gets them and they start to compress onto the spark plugs. Mine I didn't have that much issue with, so. Oh, sorry about the camera angle, looking up my nose. The nice thing about this swivel as well is it's got a magnet in it, so it holds on to the spark plug while you're trying to get it down that difficult hole to reach. And screw them in by hand. You want to just make sure you don't cross thread them. It may seem like it's going to take a while to thread them in because the spark plugs are 16 inches long. Just kidding. You cross thread a spark plug, that's what we call a bad day. You can feel the crush washer squeezing down. That feels about right. Now I've got my dielectric grease here, and we'll just stuff a little bit right down the hole there. Okay, let's stick this coil back in. Just make sure you put it in the right way around. Where the clip tab goes in, it's going to be pointing towards the firewall, and this blue dot, I believe, points to the back spark plug. Don't quote me on that, I didn't check the other ones. Trying not to get it too dirty yet be able to angle it in around there, because again, do not leave much room for somebody to do this job. Also, your coil bolts need to line up with the valve cover, so you'll know if you have them in the right way or not. So far the brake booster hasn't been too much of a problem. I think it's going to be the 3rd cylinder here that is where the grief is going to be. That's why I did this side first. Might make it seem a little less painful when I do the rest of them. Get our number 10 back in here and tighten down the coil. There it goes again. Remember the old days when you used to be able to climb right into the engine bay and do these things? Okay, remember, not too tight. You'll want to pull that threaded insert out of the valve cover. And let's plug the wire back in. The tab goes towards the firewall. There we go, we got 1 cylinder done. Whew, only 8 more or 7 more to go. And we got the brake booster to deal with yet. Let's see how that goes. Well, the swivel allowed me to get that in the hole fairly easily. This one may not though.
Okay, well I got it in. What's the chance I'll get it out again? I've been getting good gas mileage on the highway with the truck, so it's not like these spark plugs were fouled and causing me any grief, but it is a maintenance item. Okay, there's the left or front spark plug for that cylinder. Same white powderiness on it. So I don't know why it's running leanish, and maybe that's why I'm getting good gas mileage. Lean ain't always good though. Mind you, the tailpipes have black soot on them, so it's not like it's that lean, and it's not backfiring or popping or anything. So again, I am way behind on the maintenance on these plugs. They don't look bad. Maybe the gap is wider than it should be. I've been told too, even on new plugs, if they come pre-gapped and if anything looks amiss with them, like the electrode is bent or something like that, you're best just to replace it and not mess around with it. That one looks about the same, so good news is they're coming out even. The last one I took out had some brown around the porcelain. And I'm not sure if what that's a sign of, if it's a sign of age or misfiring or what. Like I said, no codes. I did have a code for misfire on number 3 way back in December, and it came on twice. I cleared it, and code never came back again, so I'm not sure what that meant, and I'm still attributing it to not changing these spark plugs frequently enough. Hand tight on that one. So when I took these spark plugs out of the package, I made sure they were all gapped evenly. I didn't change the gap on them, but made sure they were all consistent. For this job, it's not ideal that I'm height challenged. Mind you, I'm 5'9", so I guess that's basically male average. Okay, hand tight to the bottom. Compression washer compressed. And my strength today says torque to specification. Now the right one, or the back one on the third cylinder here on this side. With this swivel socket, I'm telling you, I think it saved me a lot of grief. I was using multiple different types of extensions to get in there, and and pivot type attachments. Okay, got my dielectric grease on the coil, and I think these had to bend at kind of a 45-degree angle to get back in. And fit in like a glove. I'm just finger tightening the 10 mils on the coil. Then it's less ratchet work. Coil tightened down. Let's plug in the coil so we don't forget. Good firm fit. Okay, so you can see our 2 coil packs are back on for 3 and 4 on the left-hand or driver's side, and now we've got these 4 to do. Now, not much excitement here. I think what I'll do is I'll just put you on time lapse, and we'll knock those 4 out, and if anything happens, I'll check in with you in a bit. Okay, this is interesting and a little bit worrisome. The center probe is completely gone on this spark plug. I think it was still firing, but yikes. Hopefully that just flew out the exhaust valve. It's not embedded in the cylinder wall or something. So because of the refrigerant line and the dipstick, I've added a short extension on these fronts, this number 1 cylinder. I don't know if it's the number 1 cylinder. I've never looked at the firing order. Anyways, the front cylinder on the left bank to try and make it easier. Okay, we got those 4 spark plugs out, and other than that one electrode, completely gone, which is concerning. They all look normal as far as, you know, the consistency of the burn and everything like that. So let's get the plugs and coils back in and we'll button up this side. Okay, that is the driver's side put back together. Got our spark plugs in, got our coils back on, and everything is plugged back in. Time to move on to the other side, which supposedly should be easier. Let's have a look. The first 3 are pretty clear. Of course, there's the one in the back there with the big coil or computer wiring harness right in front of it. Like, you know, these engineers could do better. And then there's a bracket back there as well. So I looked at the spark plug that was missing the center electrode, and lo and behold, it's there. Till you tip it upside down like that. So the porcelain on the interior of the spark plug gave way. With my camera precariously set up there, I will get these coils out. I'm going to loosen off the bolts first, and then unplug them. This one back here is going to be our problem child. Like, why? Why did they do that? Got the heater hoses right where you got to get at that nut for the, or bolt for the coil. Let's see if I can get a ratcheting wrench in there easy enough. Nope, still don't have it. Oh, this wrench is too big on the end. Too thick there to get around the coil. Arg! We'll try a small number 10 wrench. Here I thought the brake booster was going to be a problem, but it appears to be this coil pack, or sorry, this the computer. Not even sure how I'm going to get that unplugged back there. Wonder if I can take this out without unplugging the wire to it. I think I can, but would I ever get it back in again? Okay, well, let's see if we can get it unplugged. I don't like the way those tiny little wires are sitting. These front ones are coming out nice and easy. It's the one that you can't get at, right? That is going to cause you grief. The key seems to be to push in this little gap here to push the tab back. Let's see if I can get that on this one in the very back here. There we go. Let's get the rest of these coil packs out. Sometimes you feel like saying, ah, that's too hard to do, let's just not do it. But like I showed you with that one spark plug, these are a wearable item. They were pretty specific on the 50,000 kilometer or 30,000 mile requirement to change them. It's nice I put this refrigerant line right here too. Okay, let's try the hardest ones back here. I can do the right one easy enough. Looks the same as the other side, which is good. Everything's burning evenly. Okay, so I was able to come between this bracket and the wiring harness to get my swivel in there. Okay, this one's about the same too, so those were the hardest ones to get out. I guess you don't need to really see me pull out the next 6, so I'll just time lapse that. Okay, got all our spark plugs in on this side. I'm just going to dress up our coils and put them back in. And hoping that now that I've got some experience here, it won't be so hard to put that back coil in. Okay, bit of a worrisome moment for me. There's the 8 spark plugs I changed on the passenger side. There's the 8 spark plugs I changed on the driver's side. Why do I got 2 left? Oh no! Had to go back and check my Amazon order to find out that when I bought them, they sold them in batches of 6, so I ended up buying 18 when I needed 16. Whew. That was going to be a bad moment for me, but I'm glad I was able to go back and look at my order, because I ordered these, nearly a year ago, and here I am just doing it now. I don't know if we've ever established this, but sometimes I'm lazy. Okay, let's just get these coils ready to go back on. One thing I should note is I didn't see any oil on the base of the spark plugs, so that is a good sign that the O-rings on the valve cover gaskets are still good. Now, how am I going to do this? My theory is do the hardest one first. What kind of trick can I use here? Just careful manipulation. And so far, not working, because I'm stuck on the bracket here. Okay, wiggle the heater hoses out of the way. Get around this wiring harness. Again, why did they have to put that there? We got her in. not as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. That being said, we still got to get these bolts tightened up. I guess the bottom line is, if you're wondering, can I do this job? If you got some mechanical ability, I think you can. And it's just a matter of taking your time, paying attention. Grabbing my wrench here. Watch a few videos. Oh, don't lose that. Continuing to use the number 10 wrench for this bolt as well. Because it's in my hand, I could fit the ratchet on there. The worst part of this job done. Well, let's see if I can get this connector on first, then we'll start patting ourselves on the back here. Because I had taken it out after I had the coil out. Let's make sure I have it the right way around here. And it is on. Okay, what did I have going on with these heater hoses here? I think that bracket for the heater hoses might have broke. Well, I'll go back and tie wrap that heater hose bracket. Not a very good bracket, I'll say that. Okay, just let me get these coils back in. Nothing exciting here. Okay, everything's back together. We've got our 4 coil packs back in, 8 brand new spark plugs on this side, and everything's plugged back in. I even tie wrapped the heater hoses around that bracket. Looks like somebody else had put a tie wrap there, and I'm wondering if it was me back in the day from the last time I did this job. This is a 2012, so not a lot of miles on it, 140,000 kilometers. Actually 145,000, close to 90,000 miles, so it's kind of been lightly used. So this is the second time I've changed the spark plugs. Probably should have been the third time. So let's put the covers back on and fire it up. I don't want to start it without that, I think it's probably a temperature sensor in the incoming air. I don't want to run the truck without that, just in case it throws a code. Okay, all the covers are back on. Airbox back on. Intake hose and that cover there. Give everything a little clean and spray off down here, just to make it look like we were here and did something. Nothing left to do now but start it up and see what happens. Okay, watch your ears as we let all the horses go. It started, so that's a good thing. The ticking over there isn't the infamous HEMI tick. I think I've got either a cracked exhaust manifold or the usual broken bolt that seems to break on these things all the time. It's been like that for quite a while, and as it heats up I just kind of ignore it. I'm afraid to fix that one. I may have to get somebody to do it, especially if you got to weld on a bolt or something. Okay, let's check, make sure we don't have any check engine light. So far so good. Seems to be idling okay. Nothing like a HEMI, even with all their problems. Lots of horses under the hood with that thing. Okay, let's just take it for a quick run here. Make sure there's no stumbling or anything. I just finished giving it a quick oil change too. It was at 7,000 kilometers. Apparently with the synthetic oil and a Wix filter you could go 20,000 kilometers, but oil's still relatively cheap.
It wasn't running poorly before. The only thing I did notice is if I was doing passing somebody and doing like 130 plus kilometers an hour, there was quite a vibration, and I didn't think it was missing. I think it might be, I don't know, something in the drivetrain out of balance. I was told at one time that the rear end was not exactly in alignment, so that might have caused the vibration. Let's give her a little pedal here. Opened up just fine. No shudder or anything. Nice rainy day. Open it up a bit as we're merging on to the freeway here. Doing 100 kilometers an hour, and we're at operating temperature. Everything seems to be running fine. Got good oil pressure there. Not much else we can do but run it and use it. One more big pull here. Slow pokey people. Nope, she's humming along just like normal, no issues. And I'm happy to say I didn't create any issues, so that's a good thing too. I will have to say that this spark plug socket on a swivel really made this job a lot simpler. For as difficult as it was, which was only maybe medium difficulty, this really helped. So that's it for this edition of Mundane Man, where we changed out the spark plugs on a Ram 1500 with a 5.7 HEMI, and something you should be doing every 30,000 miles or 50,000 kilometers. And yeah, don't delay.